Howdy, welcome to my biofuel video project. For my biofuel, I chose ethanol. So a little bit of background into ethanol. It's a renewable fuel made from various plant materials, also known as biomass. Ethanol is primarily used in fuel, but it can also be used as a solvent in industrial cleaning products, personal care products, and pharmaceuticals. So industrial cleaning, they use it as a solvent for fats, oils, waxes. Personal care products can be in your lotions, your hairsprays, and your perfumes. In pharmaceuticals, they also use it as a solvent, but for liquid medications. But what is ethanol? Ethanol, its chemical formula is CH3CH2OH. It's an organic chemical compound. It's clear or colorless, liquid, and extremely flammable. So, how is ethanol cultivated? In the US, ethanol is commonly made from corn, but it can also be made from various feedstocks. Ethanol is cultivated through a multi-step process of converting plant matter into sugars and then fermenting those sugars using yeast to produce the alcohol. How is ethanol produced? Okay. Ethanol is produced from various sources such as starches, sugars, and vegetable oils. It is produced by breaking down the corn and wheat through like those plants, then converting the grain biomass into ethanol using various enzymes and living organisms. The current developmental status, so currently there are four generations of bioethanol. Each are still currently being developed and researched, and they all have their pros and cons. So for instance, generation one has high feedstock costs but low processing costs, and generation two is the opposite, low feedstock costs but high processing costs. Generation three heavily relies on algae, but it's not as efficient as generations one and two. And then generation four is genetically modified algae. It they use genetically modified to try and increase their ethanol yield, but none of them are as effective as generation one. Um, ethanol's carbon footprint is complex and debated because of the confusing data. Some data shows that it has a very good footprint, others a very bad footprint. And also because of ethanol's potential benefits and drawbacks. It really just depends on where you get your ethanol from. Like, for instance, in corn-based ethanol, it can reduce greenhouse gases, but it requires a great input of energy to be able to do that, and that can have harmful emissions. Whereas if you get it from other sources, it does slightly reduce greenhouse gases, but not as effective as corn-based. So it really just depends on where you get your data from, but also what feedstock you're using. Economic impact and communication efforts. So ethanol's economic impact is mixed because it has both pros and cons. Some of its pros are that it creates jobs, contributes to GDP, and helps rural economies, but it does use a lot of land and can have some negative impacts on food prices. Ethanol's communication efforts is complicated because while its goal is to promote environmental and economic benefits, it depends on the audience and accuracy of data. So if one source might have very reliable data, but others might not. So it really just depends on where you get your information from and where those sources get their data from. And if their experiments or research is reliable. My analysis is that based on all the various research studies and data, ethanol is a very gray subject. It's not good or bad. It's quite in the middle when it comes to its benefits and drawbacks. So from economic cost to environmental impacts, ethanol has its pros and cons, but we need further research and development to limit those drawbacks. Yeah. So what should we do? I have three propositions. One is increase research and development of ethanol. So if we can have a better understanding of what ethanol is and how it affects our environment and our economy, we can better understand how to apply ethanol in a safe way. Feedstock, so finding or creating more sustainable feedstock transformations. So from going from the grain or the biomass to the ethanol. Um, if we're able to find more sustainable ways to do it, then that could greatly help decrease the drawbacks that come from using ethanol or cultivating ethanol. Communication efforts. So if we're able to communicate neutrally the benefits and drawbacks of ethanol and we're able to have reliable research, then I think that could greatly impact our understanding and opinions on how to use ethanol. So here are my citations. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.